Hi guys, this is Schwaku7, and this will be a different type of video. And today I want to appeal to the college graduates who are watching my videos. If you've been to college, then you know how to research and you know how to study from textbooks. And what I'm suggesting, as I mentioned before, is to approach strength training as an academic discipline. And just like you would study psychology, you would research. You would go to the library and you would read various journals and various different textbooks. And I suggest you should take the same approach to strength training. When I went to Ohio State University, which is in my hometown of Columbus, Ohio, I took independent study courses in which I learned how to research on my own, how to develop a thesis, how to use critical thinking, is how to extrapolate, which means how to surmise or how to draw a conclusion from the various different principles and theories and facts that I've gathered. And it was the best courses I ever took when I went to college. And I actually have 3 college degrees, which includes a Juris Doctorate from an ABA accredited College of Law. And I've also had the opportunity to study at the University of Oxford in Oxford, England, where I went to a summer study pre-law program, which was offered in conjunction with Ohio State University. But the knowledge on how to research and to extrapolate and how to formulate my own theories has helped me tremendously when it comes to strength training. And I'm 67 years and 8 months old, but I'm actually stronger today than I was when I was an active duty United States Marine Corps 0331 M60 machine gunner. And that may sound hard to believe, but all I can say is watch my videos on how many pull-ups and dips I can do. And the reason I'm stronger today is due to many reasons. One of them being that I own a lot more gym equipment, because when you're 0331, you're living in the barracks and you spend a lot of time out in the field. And I can assure you, you're not strength training when you're out in the field unless you call digging a fighting position with an E-tool, which is an entrenching tool, or a shovel, to be strength training. And another reason why I'm strong today is because I know far more about strength training than I did when I was a young Marine. But today what I want to talk to you about are 4 books that I highly recommend. And I recommended this before in the past, but I'll recommend it again because it's that important, I think, to let people know that they don't have to guess at strength training. I mean, strength training is an academic discipline. But the first book I recommend is Science and Practice of Strength Training by Vladimir Zatsiorsky, who was a former strength and conditioning consultant for the Soviet Olympic teams, who's helped train hundreds of Olympic gold medal winners. And it is so good that I bought the second copy, which is the third edition, which contains the latest updates. And the second book I highly recommend is Louis Simmons' Westside Barbell Book of Methods, which contains a wealth of strength training knowledge. And if you're into powerlifting, or if you're just an average home gym owner and you want a stronger bench press, or to squat more, or to deadlift more, then this is essential. And not just for his strength training tips, which I'll be doing many more videos on because they're that numerous, but also to know what type of equipment you should be buying. So instead of buying the latest and greatest adjustable dumbbells that goes up to 125 pounds that you will probably never use in the full capacity, you're better off buying equipment that you will use. If you're using Louis Simmons' conjugate strength training method, which is outstanding if you want to develop strength. I'm using Louis Simmons' conjugate strength training method right now for increasing the number of pull-ups I do. And what the conjugate strength training method is about is rotating exercises and strength training methods. So to prevent muscular accommodation or becoming stale or having performance decreases. And I also recommend Pavel Tsatsouline, Power to the People. And Pavel Tsatsouline is the Eastern European who introduced kettlebells as a means of muscular overload here in the United States. And he's probably the person who's most responsible for the popularization of kettlebell training. But according to Pavel, all you really need, and this is the strength equipment he recommended in his book, is a 300-pound set of Olympic barbells. And he advocates only doing two exercises, the deadlift and the press. And he says to do the press, just use the barbell itself with no weights. And if you have a 45-pound Olympic barbell, it becomes a challenge to balance it, but he shows the technique, and you can get incredibly strong just doing presses with the 45-pound dumbbell. And he also advocates deadlifting. And he says between the two exercises you can get a complete upper body workout. And the last book I highly recommend is The Barbell Prescription by Dr. Jonathan Sullivan and Andy Baker. And both of them advocate using the bench press, deadlift, and squat as a means of strength training. And this book is especially valuable because of Dr. Jonathan Sullivan's contribution, which he explains bioenergetics, about how the body produces energy and the importance of the mitochondria in strength training. And he also explains about the metabolic syndrome and about sarcopenia and osteopenia, and that this is an affliction that is preventable or reversible, or at least can be delayed. Is that exercise is something that you need to do, not something you should want to do. Today I want to talk about information that I learned from Vladimir Zatsiorsky's book, Science and Practice of Strength Training. The first, Zatiorsky classified exercises under static strength. And static strength would be isometric holds and pauses, or exercises that uses concentric contractions. And what I mean by concentric contractions is that when the muscles shortens, like when you curl, the bicep will ball up or shorten, which helps you to overcome the weight load. So true isometrics is any muscular contraction without joint movement. For instance, if you do a side lateral raise and you pause, you hold it there, that is a isometric contraction because the muscles aren't lengthening, they're remaining the same, and you're just holding it there, trying to resist gravity. But Zatsiorsky also classifies any concentric exercise with slow movement to be a static strength exercise. So if you were to slowly curl a dumbbell towards you in this manner, Zatsiorsky classifies that under his static strength. The second group of exercises would be dynamic strength exercises, and those would be concentric exercises in a fast motion. So if you were to curl in this manner, that would be a dynamic exercise. And dynamic exercises is what Zatsiorsky says is what most superior athletes will use. So, like a baseball player, when they throw a baseball, they're doing it quickly, they're not doing it slowly. And then the last category under Zatsiorsky's taxonomy of strength is yielding strength. And yielding strength exercises are those which involve eccentric contractions. And eccentric means that you have muscle lengthening. So in a curl, your biceps are balled up, but when you descend, eccentrically you're resisting the gravity and the muscle lengthens. So according to Zatsiorsky, there's three phases of strength training, and they are concentric exercises, which again involves the muscle shortening; isometric exercises, where the muscle length stays the same, like when you do front raises and you hold them there, the muscle remains the same, but you're resisting gravity and you have muscular tension. And the last is eccentric exercises, where you're resisting the descent. If you know one principle, you can devise a multitude of techniques. For instance, in the martial arts, if you know that you can stop a punch by blocking, right? If a person throws a punch, I can attack with my palm, my knife hand, or I can attack with my sledgehammer, what they call a hammer fist. I can block my forearm. I can block with my palm. And the same thing with the parry, because there's many ways to parry. Parry is redirection. So if a person throws a punch at me, I can slap it away. I can reverse slap it. This is called a half moon parry. I can tip it downward. I can push it upward. The principle is the redirection. But knowing that principle, I can devise many techniques. Well, the same thing about knowing the taxonomy of strength, about the isometric and the dynamic and the yielding exercises of the three phases of strength training: the isometric, the concentric, and the eccentric. For instance, most of you probably are aware of the exercise technique called the 21s. And the 21s, if you're going to curl, involves curling a set of dumbbells or a barbell halfway up for 7 reps. Then halfway down for 7 reps. And then doing the full range of motion for 7 reps. But now, after reading Zatsiorsky's book, Science and Practice of Strength Training, I now realize that while I've been focusing on the concentric exercise, which is the dynamic motion of trying to curl, as quickly as possible, I should be practicing all 3 phases of strength training, which includes the isometric and the eccentric portions. For instance, using the 21s, when I go up, I can hold it for a count. Now I'm training the isometric along with the eccentric. And then when I descend, I can descend slowly. And now I'm working the eccentric portion. So the point is knowing the three different phases of strength training. I can now employ it. But if you don't know about the taxonomy of strength training and the three phases of strength training, how can you utilize that knowledge? Knowledge is power. But knowledge is not power if you don't know it, or even if you do know it, if you don't apply it. Okay, that's all for this video. That's all for now. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you will be immediately notified when I upload more YouTube videos. And as always, thanks for watching.